So I feel like everyone on YouTube talks about quantum jumping, shifting your realities, changing your identity, whatever. And it's a great concept, but it took me a while to actually understand how to do it and what it meant and like what the actual process is to do it, because I would watch these videos and people would describe it and explain it and it was not clicking. So I finally figured out how to make it click and how to use it in my life. So if you want to figure out how to do it, then just keep watching. Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. I make videos all about how to become the best version of yourself. So the way you let go of a past version of you to become the new and improved version of you is by first accepting and owning your past mistakes. I like to use this skill from DBT therapy called radical acceptance, because you can't change your past, but you can change your present, which will then change your future. By seeing the things that happened to you in your past, whether they're mistakes, negative situations, whatever, seeing them as lessons, things you can learn and grow from that add to your life in a positive way, versus things that brought you down and that you never were able to grow through and learn anything from, and you just stayed stuck in it. So if you have gone through things and you came out the other side, it's best to look at it as a lesson than this horrible thing that happened that you're still dealing with the trauma of. Obviously, everyone who has gone through traumatic experiences will have triggers that will bring up that trauma, but those triggers that bring up the trauma in the moment, those are there to help you heal the trauma. So if you use them to help heal, like I talk about in this video, then you can move through it and they don't have to stay in your present, therefore they don't have to continue into your future. So step number one, I would say, is to heal your triggers as they come up. Clear them out so you can be present to the moment, and when you're present to the moment, you can start bringing in more positive experiences through positive emotions and thoughts and behaviors. But if you're currently stuck in a past thought loop or emotion, you can't bring in a new one from that state. So you would have to do some inner work, do some shadow work, clear out that trauma, clear out that trigger point, to then get to a neutral place in the present where you can switch. Which leads me to my next point. The way you switch from that neutral point to the positive point is by taking the negative past, and it's not saying, oh, this never happened. Like, you're not going to delude yourself and be in denial about your past. You're going to look at it, be like, here are the facts. Let's reframe them into a way that serves me right now and for me in the future. So let me give you an example of how you would reframe a negative past experience into a positive one for your future self. Here's a really common one. So for anyone who's gone through a really toxic or abusive, unhealthy relationship, you're going to have a myriad of triggers from that relationship, and you can work on them while you're single and get rid of as many of them as you can. But the next time you enter a relationship, there's going to be triggers that will come up that you don't even realize you had in the back of your brain or unconsciously running in your body. So the first step would be to reframe how you think of your past relationship as a whole. Let's say you have a really negative viewpoint of it and you're seeing it as this horrible thing that happened to you. The way to reframe that is to look at it and be like, okay, yeah, a lot of horrible stuff did happen, but let's be in reality. You were in it for a reason, right? There had to be some positives, there had to be some negatives, but you left it also for a reason, or it left your life for a reason, whatever that may be. So let's take the reason, or let's make up our own positive reason for it and reframe it into, yes, I had to go through this really negative relationship so I could learn how to love myself. I could learn how to be my own person. I could learn how to be authentic to myself. I could learn how to set boundaries. I could learn how to say no. I could learn how to be okay being by myself now that I'm out of it. So we just reframed, okay, like I was staying in this awful relationship, I was scared to be alone, but now I am, and I'm okay, and I worked through it. So you look at it like, okay, here's the challenge, the problem, the thing you had to go through. Here's what you gained from it. Here's what you learned by going through the challenge, by solving the problem. And you look at it from this positive perspective now, and you can get rid of, you can let go, you can say goodbye to the negative perspective, because you learned and you have all this to gain from the positive perspective. So once you have that reframing mentality around the relationship as a whole, then you can take it with every trigger that comes up as you enter new relationships. So let's say you are going on a date with somebody new and they're running 30 minutes late, and it reminds you of your ex that used to run late for everything, who also would put the blame on you, whatever the thing is. So now you're starting to feel triggered because you forgot about this experience of your ex and you're getting flashbacks of it. Well, now you can take the trigger, look at it for what it is, be like, this is a new person. I am a new person because I love myself now. I have boundaries now. I am sovereign now. I have integrity. I know how to regulate my emotions. I am not that person. So therefore, anyone entering my reality has to meet me at my level. And so if they can't meet you at your level, if running 30 minutes late is a boundary for you, then you don't have to deal with them. They can be filtered out. If 30 minutes late isn't that big of a deal, they text you with like a valid excuse, you're like, okay, whatever, things happen, then you can look at it as that and not take the trauma from the past and project it onto this new person who may or may not be a good person for you. But you wouldn't know if you're projecting your traumatic past on them, because whether they are a good person or not and they prove you wrong or not, you're gonna have these like negative filtered lenses. And when you have negative filtered lenses, it makes you attract the negative qualities of these people, of the new people that you have coming into your life, and you're seeing their negative qualities as opposed to focusing on the positive ones. If negative ones come up, they come up. You know how to deal with it because you've learned and grown and you have skills. And gaining the skills of the person that you want to be comes along when you do the inner work to clear out your traumas. And then you have the skills of the future version of you. So therefore, in that moment, in that present moment, as you're meeting new people or you're experiencing a new opportunity, you already know what to do because you're embodying that new version of you because you went through the challenges of the past. Really becoming a new version of yourself doesn't mean negating the past or pretending it never happened. It just means you learned how to grow from it and become a better you because of it. I think a lot of people, including myself, will think, man, I wish that never happened to me, or I wish I never made that mistake, or I wish I never had to go through it. But if I never made that mistake, never had those things happen to me, never had to go through or grow through whatever I went through, I wouldn't be the more whole, complete version that I am now. Going through hard things, tough things, builds your character. It makes you a stronger person mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all around. If you never go through anything and you're just like living this squishy life of no problems ever, well, you're not expanding. You're not serving the universal purpose of figuring out what you like, what you don't like, what works, what doesn't work. The whole part of being a human on the planet is to experience things, positive things and negative things, and to grow from them and expand the consciousness. So if you're ever feeling bad about your past mistakes, you can remind yourself that is just a part of being human. You don't need to feel shame. If shame comes up, feel it, let it go, but you don't need to stay in it because we all make mistakes. We all make the wrong decisions sometimes. We all go through things that we don't want to go through. But if we learn from it, then it makes us better, more well-rounded people, and it does make you your best self in a sense, because your best version of yourself had to go through that hard stuff to become this unshakable person that you are now, or that you're about to be. So when it comes to making future decisions, because you're constantly clearing out triggers and traumas, it will be a lot easier for you to make the decisions that are best for the highest version of you, because you're starting to live from that highest version. If you stay in your triggers and traumas and you make decisions from the fear standpoint, you're not going to be making the decisions that your higher self would be making because you're not in that higher version of you. So as you clear those out, you're able to let go of your past and start to make better decisions for yourself. You're able to choose your consequences wisely. You're able to look at more perspectives because you can see the negative perspectives. You can see the positive perspectives. You can weigh your options and you can be like, do I want to choose this? Do I want to choose this? And you're able to do it from a less emotional place because you're not so triggered. And that's what leads you to make these better decisions, to continuously build yourself to be a better and better version of yourself. One of the best ways to measure your growth and how much you've changed is when you see something come up that seems almost identical, almost exactly similar to a situation or a person or whatever from your past come in, and you react differently to it than you would have in the past, maybe when you were in a certain toxic cycle where you would continue to repeat the same mistake over again. This time around, when it shows up, it's almost like a test. It's like, are you going to look at this situation as you always have and react the same way you always have to stay in the same cycle? Or are you going to think differently about it? Are you going to feel differently about it? Are you then going to act differently towards it? And when you act differently towards it because your thoughts are different, your emotions are different, you're regulated, and you're able to make the best, most highest decision for yourself, that is when you know you have changed, you have up-leveled, you have shifted your reality, you are no longer the same person that you were before. This is your proof to show you because you're making different decisions and you're looking at things in a very different light. Your perspective has changed. You're not the same you. So that is all for this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one next week. Bye.